Hello! Hello. The stream is happening. How's it going? I hope everyone's doing well. I am here. I'm not used to being in the bottom left. I kind of ignored it last stream because I was so busy with everybody else here. But today I'm looking at the stream and I'm like, it feels weird being on the bottom left instead of the top left or somewhere on the top. I feel like I'm gonna just sink out of frame. Crazy. I hope everyone's doing well. Wait, I feel like I'm a bit on the quiet side. Hold up. Hello! Okay, I think that's probably better. I'm no longer gonna be a silent being. But yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. I'm like, I know, I feel like I say every Monday that I'm tired for the stream, but today it's especially true because I got like 4 hours of sleep. Like, actually legit 4 hours of sleep. I couldn't sleep very well last night, and now I'm just like bleh, waking up today. Oh, hi Adam! Welcome to the stream. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. Hello! Welcome. You're the bestest being. I was just saying, yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm extremely exhausted though. I'm like super tired for the stream today. Because I'm moving myself up here. It's just too weird down there. I mean, it's not really the temperature, because we have pretty good air conditioning here. You kind of have to in the States. Like, I think most houses in the States have air conditioning all year round, so that's not really an issue. But first off, one of the first reasons of not being able to sleep is because I had, like, late at night I was playing Fire Emblem 3 Hopes, and I played that till like 4 a.m. so there is that. And then the other reason is because as I was finishing up the game, I all of a sudden remembered that I did not download the next Hakuoki yet. I mean, I didn't install it. I didn't install the second Hakuoki, and because of that, I stayed up even longer to install Hakuoki. Because at first, it was like downloading at like 0.1 speed per second. It was so slow. Then I thought to myself, okay, it's been an hour, it's still not done downloading. I need to reset my internet. So I reset the internet, And then finally it fully downloaded pretty easily after that. But because of all that, I think I got only like 4 hours of sleep in total, so I'm exhausted. How's my weekend been? Same old, same old. The most fun I've been having, of course, is playing Fire Emblem Three Hopes, which I'll probably do tonight as well. I'll probably play some more of that. I'm on chapter 11. I hope to beat chapter 12 tonight. I want to believe in the dream. And then that'll be like the cutoff to where like the endings would be different. And then I think it's like 18 chapters in total. So I'm getting there, but it's taking some time, especially since I constantly just don't have the time to play games during the week, since I'm busy like writing articles during all that time. And so I legit just have no time for playing video games until like the weekend rolls around, which is big sad. If I did have time every day, I would probably be done with the game already, but instead I'm still slowly chugging my way through it. And then I'm thinking after that, there's like this new Otome visual novel game that came out recently called like Birashana or something like that, that I really want to play because I've heard good things about it and some of the characters seem pretty rad, so I'm definitely probably going to check it out after I finish Three Hopes. Three Hopes comes first though, obviously. I'm still upset that they took out the romance aspect from the game. Like, I don't know if it was just like a limitation thing or they legit just didn't want to deal with the romance part because of the fact that the previous game had romance, and so they don't want to make it so that people's previous ships were like ruined by the sequel, like with Byleth and whatnot. I don't know. My weekend consisted of playing Ark Survival, more Risk of Raid 2, some Doom Eternal, heck yeah. Then watched season 1 of Stranger Things for the first time. Still got 1 episode to watch. Heck yeah! Heck yeah. What do you think so far of Stranger Things? I've seen a good chunk of it. But I ended up stopping because I didn't like how some of the characters were treated later on. So I kind of fell off of it. Interesting, I think. Heck yeah. Yeah, the series has a lot of interesting concepts and ideas in it. Season 1 was so, how should I say it? Like, I praised season 1 a lot because I loved how in the story you had like the kids, the teenagers, and adults, and they all kind of had their own storylines going all at the same time, and then they kind of collided at the end and joined forces at the end. I loved how that was done. I thought that was really well implemented because first off, people point out that at the time that Stranger Things might have been one of the only shows that actually focused on several groups of people. Like, it wasn't just kids or just teenagers or just adults. It was all three, like, generational lines. You had kids, you had teenagers, you had adults, and they were all protagonists of their story. And they all kind of focused on their own kind of genre. It was like they were each in their own genre, yeah. And then at the end, they all come together to defeat the main, like, antagonist. And I think that's one of the most amazing things about season 1 was that aspect. In the later seasons, kind of trying to implement that, but I don't think any of them reached the same height as season 1 does. Season 2 is pretty good. But yeah, I definitely do love the fact that the characters, there's so many different characters in it, and kind of the way they're all brought together. I think it's one of the stronger aspects of Stranger Things. But there are also a lot of negatives that become more and more apparent as like the series progresses, if that makes sense. But I'm glad you're watching it though, because Stranger Things is pretty good. And heck yeah, tons of people have been playing Risk of Rain 2 in Sushi Court server. Like Fowl, Wolf, and Zach have been playing Risk of Rain 2 a lot recently. And I just saw them playing it and I was like, oh yeah, Adam played it. Adam was telling me about it. It was kind of funny. Yeah, I think Fowl had it beforehand, but then he got Zach and Wolf into it. Like, I don't think they had played it before, and he got them into it. So now all three of them have gone into it, which is pretty rad. Pretty rad stuff. So they were playing it, literally they were playing it at the same time that I was playing Three Hopes last night. I mean, I played it way longer into the night than they played Risk of Rain, but they were up pretty late playing those games. Actually, no, it wasn't last night, it was Saturday night. Yeah, I'm getting like my days mixed up now. But they were up pretty late and Val was streaming it as well. So they've gotten pretty into it. Risk of Rain run can go on pretty long, yeah. Depending if you loop it. Yeah, I think Zach went a whole 2 hours for one of his runs, is what he was talking about. And I think it was partly because he accidentally looped it at one point, like he didn't mean to loop it, and he accidentally did. So that's why it ended up taking like 2 hours to get through. Yeah. Seems like they're having a good time. You can loop it indefinitely. Yeah. Makes sense. But yeah, he said he accidentally did it. Like, he didn't mean to do it, but he accidentally did it. But at the same time, decide how and when it ends. Yeah. But yeah, the struggle is real. But yeah, apparently, he basically won the round mostly by using, like, poison attacks. Like, he would poison a boss or a monster or something and then, like, run away and wait for the poison to slowly kill it. And that's why it took so long. So, I love games that allow you to kind of tackle issues in your own way. There's been a lot of times where I've done like a similar thing where, oh, sorry. Just goes to show how tired I am today. Sounds like they were using a survivor, which focuses on poisoning everything. I see. But yeah, I don't remember what he said he was using. It was something that started with an A, I think. But I love games that kind of allow you to tackle issues in different ways. Like, yeah, I think that's the one. I think that's what he was using. Acrid. But yeah, like, there's been times in video games where I've gone through whole areas or whole games, like doing things in a way that was like uniquely my own and maybe not the way that the game was exactly intended to be played. You can sometimes do some pretty interesting things. But yeah, one day I'll play it. One day I'll play Risk of Rain 2, but right now, definitely. Oh my gosh, I really am tired if I'm yawning that much. But for now, definitely just 3 houses, and then probably the visual novel once I finish with that. Which, as I said, I still think it's dumb that they didn't put the romance options in 3 helps. I'm guessing they just ran out of time because there's a lot about Fire Emblem 3 Hopes that feels rushed to me. Like, it's not as well made as the original 3 houses. So I'm guessing that just, you know, having the warriors combat and all that stuff and all the details that come with that, plus the supports and everything and all the other things that they added in, I guess they just didn't have time for the romance options. They probably ran out of time, which is understandable. As you suggested, maybe they'll put it in DLC, and that would be pretty awesome. Be pretty rad. But for right now, all you can do is like give the Merc whistle to like one person. They give you something in return, and there's also apparently a scene that's supposed to happen, but it hasn't happened for me yet. I don't know when it's gonna happen. Maybe at the end of the game. I don't know. We'll have to see. Also, hi Rolf, welcome to the stream. How's it going? I love you very much. How you doing? Welcome. Long time no see. I'm sorry for the long wait. But we're finally here for more Hakuoki Edo Blossoms. I'm gonna warn you right now, Rolf. I normally say I'm tired on Monday streams. Today, it's even more legit than usual. I am incredibly tired. I got only about like 4 hours of sleep because first off, I was up until like 4 a.m. playing Fire Emblem 3 Hopes, which I've been playing a ton recently. It's been a time. I'm still only like halfway through one route, which is insane. I'll probably play some more tonight. So there's that, and then I remembered that I didn't install to my computer Edo Blossoms yet. Like this Hakuoki Edo Blossoms. I didn't install it yet. So I was like, oh no! I can't believe I didn't install the game yet. And so then I was like, okay, I will install it right now. And then it was going at like 0.1 megabytes per second. Like, it was so slow. I was like, why is it so slow? And so I decided to leave it for an hour, and so I come back at like 7 a.m. and it's still going. Like, it still had so much more to go, and I'm like, what the frick? And so I'm like, okay, I probably need to reset the router. And so I go downstairs, I reset the router, I come back up here, and then I resume the download, and it works. It actually works that time, and the whole thing gets downloaded. But I was like, okay, now I'm finally going to bed at like 8 a.m. And it took me like ages to fall asleep. And then also my neighbor has been doing like renovations and stuff, so that also woke me up. So I barely had any sleep last night, so if I'm like yawning or going like loopy or whatever, more so than usual, that's why. There's already been like twice this stream where I started yawning. Oh my gosh, I'm doing it again. Oh my gosh, 3 times now where I've yawned during stream when I normally don't. That just goes to show how tired I am at the moment. But I hope you're doing well, Rolf. Welcome. But yeah, So I've been playing Three Houses, or not Three Houses, Three Hopes a lot. It definitely feels like they've rushed it a bit. By a bit, I mean a lot. Which is probably why they don't have the romance options in it. Though there is the thing where you can give one of them a merc whistle and they'll give you something in return. And then supposedly you'll get a special scene at some point, but I haven't gotten it yet and I'm big sad. And of course, I gave my merc whistle to Dimitri. My boy. I love him. But yeah. My favorite boy. Though Yuri and Claude are like pretty close. I also love them a lot too. Like if Dimitri wasn't around, I think Yuri would be my favorite, and if Yuri and Dimitri weren't around, then Claude would probably be my favorite. So they're like the top three boys. Top three boys in the game for me. I've been playing Row 96 today. Very interesting game. Yeah, I heard about that. That's the one that has, like, procedurally generated storytelling, right? Where you're, like, on a road trip, with some other peeps and, like, the story is, like, procedurally generated or something like that. I feel like I heard about it. Yeah! I definitely had heard about it. I considered putting it in, like, my article on... Oh, what was it? Oh, what was it called? That's the fourth yawn this stream. Let's go. Only 30 minutes in. 4 yawns. I thought about putting it in an article for, games that you have, that every playthrough is different. But I ended up putting some other ones instead. Wednesday is procedurally generated, so much is presented in a random order, but still very cool. Ah, I see. Makes sense. So I guess it wouldn't really fit, so that's good. That's good. I'm glad. Though there are some games that are able to do procedurally generated storytelling, like Wilder Myth being one major one, BlazBlue being another. But yeah, it's definitely not the norm. A lot of games don't really do that, probably because it would be very difficult to implement it properly. Yeah, it's still very cool. I'll have to check it out at some point. It's the 5th yawn! Oh my gosh! Big sleepy. You need to do 6 runs before you finish the game, and each one of those will definitely be different, yeah. But it wouldn't necessarily be different each time, though. You would start getting some repeats after a while, and so it wouldn't necessarily be different each time. As it would be with, like, roguelikes or actually, like, procedurally generated stories or things like that, where it's actually different each time. Yeah. Yeah, what's it about, though? I know it's, like, about a road trip. Oh, but what else beyond that? Oh my gosh, I need to stop yawning. Basically, the game has a bunch of events, and your choices combined with random chance determines which ones you see in what order. Ah, I see. Road trip makes it sound nice. Oh no! Oh no! You know what? I'm looking it up. Road 96. Oh, stop playing the video. Hitchhike your way to freedom in this crazy oh, it says procedurally generated road trip. No one road is the same. But I guess they're lying. It's about teenagers trying to escape a dictatorship by running away from home and illegally cross. Yeah, makes sense. Kind of like a more realistic Death Row to Canada type thing. I mean, sounds legit even now. It looks cool. Oh, it won tons of awards too when it came out, though it has a low Metacritic score. Though that doesn't really mean anything, since Metacritic is very not trustworthy with a lot of these things. Quite cool though. I do have to say the story is a little black and white morally wise. Was hoping for more gray, difficult choices. Yeah, makes sense. Understand. Metacritic is probably because the game is a little bit jank at times. Yeah, but to me, it's like the reason why I don't trust like critic reviews on games is because every person goes into a video game expecting certain things, right? There are certain things that you want from your games, and if your game doesn't have those things, then it's not a good game to you. But to other people, it may be a good game because it has those things. That's good for them. You know? For some people, gameplay is an important part of a game. Like, you need to have really well-established gameplay, but then, like, maybe story doesn't really matter to them, or art direction or sound design, like, maybe that stuff doesn't really matter, whereas for somebody else, it'll be the opposite. And I feel like certain games will cater more for one side than the other. Like, it's very obvious this game is going more for a story-based angle. The whole focus of this game is the story, the art direction, the sound design. So the gameplay is very much something that takes a back seat to that. So if you're going into playing like Row 96, then and you're expecting excellent gameplay, you're coming to the wrong place. To me, it's the same as like playing The Path for excellent gameplay. Like, to me, The Path is one of the best games I've ever played, but it's definitely not for the gameplay, because the gameplay is not good. You can tell that the people who made the game didn't know how to make proper video games, so the gameplay and whatnot is pretty terrible. But like the ideas, the art direction, the way that it like redefined what a game could be, like, to me, makes it very much worth a playthrough despite the poor gameplay. And so that's why I don't really trust reviews on things, because what I consider important in a game may not be the same as what a critic considers important about a game. And what may be like that game is built for me may not be built for them, and vice versa. There's been like tons of games that have gotten like pretty high reviews that I couldn't care less about. And there's plenty of games that have gotten poor reviews that I personally love. So that's why I don't really trust it, because it all depends on what do you look for when you're playing this game, what's important to you in terms of a video game. For me, like stuff like story or art direction, or whether it does something different compared to everybody else, those are like very important aspects to me. Gameplay is very much a backseat for me when it comes to games. If something has great gameplay, that's great, but that's not the most important thing to me. So something can have not as great gameplay, and I'll still love it. I'll still consider it one of my top games, just because it has something else to it that I love about it. it reminds me that, like, for example, me and a bunch of other people, like, there's a huge fan base for Yume Nikki. I love that game. A lot of other people love that game. People have written so many reviews and fan games and whatnot for Yume Nikki. But there's also a ton of people who've played it and been like, I don't see what the deal is, because it's mostly just you walking around these large, kind of boring environments. And, like, it's kind of annoying. And yeah, it is annoying. The gameplay is annoying, but it's about, does that matter to you in terms of the game? And to me, like, it doesn't really matter. That just, like, adds to the experience to me rather than takes away from it. And so I just don't trust critic reviews most of the time because of that. Because there's just been so many times where I've liked a game and I went on Metacritic and it was like 60 something on Metacritic, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then there's been games that I don't care about that are like super high rated on Metacritic, like 80s and 90s, and I'm like, I don't understand. There's definitely flaws, but to me it's just enough that I played it all the way through basically in one go, and even started a second playthrough. Heck yeah. The most important part of Row 96 is the main cast of recurring NPCs and their stories. Heck yeah. Yeah, and again, that means that if a person is walking into it expecting something different from that, they're not gonna have a good time. So it all depends on, like, what a person is looking for and whether that game provides what that person is looking for, you know? But it's also the reason why I always feel bad making listicles, because my preferences will always be a bit different than everyone else's and vice versa in terms of what I look for in video games. And it's also why I especially hate it when Scream Rant's like, oh, you absolutely have to do it based on Metacritic or based on Reddit or something. Like, I don't care what those people think. I don't care. But whatever. But yeah. All I'm saying is, basically the main idea of what I'm trying to say is, if you're going into Row 96 for the gameplay, you're probably barking up the wrong tree. Just the same as if you're going to Call of Duty or something for the story. Like, again, barking up the wrong tree. It's the reason why, like, I kind of hate, how mainstream developers kind of don't really try making anything unique as much anymore. It's all kind of the same stuff when it comes to AAA developers. And because, you know, they want to create games that will get the biggest amount of people to buy them, you know, because we live in capitalist societies and that's how it works. But the problem with that is you end up getting a game that, you know, works for everyone, but isn't necessarily super good for anyone. Like, it's just okay for everyone involved, rather than something special for anyone in particular. It's the reason why I always consider that indie games carry the entire industry on its back, because indie games are always trying things new. They introduce new concepts to video gaming, new gameplay ideas, new story ideas, all that other stuff that eventually often get picked up by AAA developers, and they use it in their stuff after all these indie people had already done it for like ages before then. But like, you look at what becomes like popular from like YouTube and stuff, and a lot of times it's indie games, because indie games, yeah, you know, with a lot of them, not everyone's gonna love those games, and actually not most people probably won't, but the idea is that because it's so unique and focuses on certain things rather than trying to please everybody, certain people end up really like connecting with that game, and it becomes a very important game to them. And so that's why, while there's a lot of games that I'll, never really personally care about or understand, I'm glad they exist, because there's probably people out there who, have seen those games and have connected with them, have resonated with them. And I think that's great. It's why I'll always support like having a wide variety of media on things, because just because I don't personally like something doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad or it shouldn't exist or that no one should play it or try it or whatever, because to some people it may be the best thing ever, just the same as there's a ton of stuff I like that a lot of other people try and claim like has nothing good about it. But yeah, I'm absolutely rambling all over the place. But basically what I'm trying to say is I'm glad that there's a wide variety of media out there that focus on different things, so that there's something out there for everybody. And I'll forever be glad about that. Even if I don't personally like something, I'm glad it's out there for somebody else. Just the same as I'm glad that the things I absolutely love were made for myself. But yeah. And so that's why I don't really listen to critics. Unless the critic is somebody on YouTube that I follow already that I tend to have similar opinions to, then I'll probably listen to them. Yeah. Yeah, word of mouth is still king. It's so true. It's so true. Like, there's so many shows and stuff that I got into because a bunch of people that I follow on, like, Tumblr or something, like, were talking about it. And I'm like, okay, if all the people that I follow are talking about it, it's probably good. Or if the people that I typically watch on YouTube are talking about it, it's probably good. But I'm not gonna listen to some random, jabroni on some site that I don't even, like, really read from. I'll be like, I don't know you, I don't know what you think. I don't care. But yeah. There was something else I wanted to say, and now I can't remember what it was that I wanted to say. But yeah. Oh, now it's gonna bother me that I've legit forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, this game looks pretty cool. I'll have to check it out. Road 96. R.I.P. Train of Thought, exactly. It just left me completely. Absolutely lost a wagon there. Lost the whole train. It's gone. Went right off the track. Goodbye, train. There's this game on the Nintendo DS, this RPG game. I always end up forgetting the name of it. But it's kind of interesting in that, like, the main thing about it is you have to kind of help guide all the NPCs to the end, kind of like Lemmings, but in RPG form, if that makes sense. And at the start of the game, oh no, it's called Sema the Enemy, that's what it is. It's called Sema the Enemy, and at the start of the game, they're all on, like, this big train, but then, like, a portal appears right in the front of the train, and they get, like, sucked into the portal, so the train all, like, disappears into the portal, and they come out on the other side, and they're like, oh, we're in the Sema's territory now, and so now we have to go through these dungeons and fight the Sema and try not to get killed by them, because they love to eat, like, human hope or whatever, for some reason. But yeah, I don't know why thinking about losing trains made me think. No, not that. It's. Oh my gosh. It's Cima. Yeah, Cima is how it's spelled. Not Steven. This is not Steven. Oh boy. Crazy. But, yeah, I ended up finding out about it while looking for, like, weird or obscure DS RPGs. But there's actually a lot. There's a lot of interesting ones. Okie dokie. Heck yeah, Rolf. Oh my gosh. Time to yawn again. Oh my gosh. Stop yawning me. No more yawning.
Hello.
Hello, Rolf. Welcome. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Oh, I forgot to mention, but yeah, I played the other endings to Milk Outside a Bag of Milk last time.
Oh, yeah.
And they were all really good. They were all different. Like, we got, the first ending, which had, like, her looking after this boy and taking him to, like, the store, kind of like in the first game. But, like, with the reverse, where she's the one looking after somebody else, rather than that somebody looking after her. But there were several other endings, like one that kind of went for cosmic horror, where there was just these giant spires that went endlessly up to the sky and endlessly down below, and she was kind of like stuck on one of them, and there was just no escape. Then there was another one where the character's like in a dark room, but they can't like reach the door for some reason. Like, anytime they go towards a wall or the door or whatever, it just goes away from them into infinity. But then they like hear somebody on the other side and they start running towards it, and then the person on the other side apparently starts running from them, and basically they lunge to grab the door, and then when that happens, the perspective shifts, and then you find yourself like as the other person, and then you find out the reason why the person called out and then start running was because to them, the person in the room looks like this shadowy figure that just started coming towards them. So they were like freaked out by it.
Seems like we got the least horror.
Yeah, basically. Another one was kind of similar to the first one, which was more kind of like focus on the mental aspect, where she like subscribes to a like pizza app, like a bot that like tells you when like there's pizza coupons and stuff. So like say, oh, like get 2 pizzas, get the third one free, stuff like that. But then she was like using it as a way to like bounce off her thoughts, so she was like texting it all these things in between it, saying stuff like that. And then finally the other ending was like her getting up to go to school every day, and just like repeating that each time, but each time like the music got like progressively more distorted, in her face like went through all sorts of different transformations, like into horrifying things. And that was that dream. But somebody pointed out that at the end, when she like wakes up from the dream and she seems to like be tearing up a bit, that she's that for a split second, you actually can see that she's smiling.
Oh, okay.
And it reminded me about how, like, I pointed out that during, like, the game, she mentions that she always used to look forward to dreaming at night, but that some of her medication, like, stopped her from being able to do that.
Oh, so she's happy that she dreams even though it's bad dreams.
Yeah, exactly. And somebody pointed out that it may be, like, a positive development, that maybe, like, it shows that she's getting somewhere, even if it's still, like, you know, not the best. So there's that. The other thing, of course, being that we thought the mom was being, like, abusive, but then people pointed out that it was very likely that she was having, like, anaphylactic shock from drinking milk when she's not supposed to, and that the weird needle that goes into her arm is actually an EpiPen. And so her mom was just, like, freaking out about the fact that her daughter was like basically dying.
Yeah, I was getting the impression that, like, the mom's not necessarily as evil as she seems, but perhaps just ill-equipped to deal with having a severely, like, disabled daughter.
Yeah, basically. Which you know, adds some realism to it, because there's a lot of parents who, like, even if they, you know, want to help, don't really know how to do it, because they don't have the resources, or they just don't have the experience or the know-how of how to deal with it.
Yeah. It's just really hard.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely I think it's kind of interesting. One of the most interesting aspects to me about the different endings is they're kind of all about reflections, if that makes sense. Like, we see the first ending we got was basically like her almost like looking in at her own, like, issues, if that makes sense. Where instead of her being the one that needs to be helped out, she's, like, helping somebody else. And somebody pointed out that maybe, like, the boy, like, is a representation of, like, her mental illnesses and how she feels like she has to, like, deal with it in a similar way, like, from almost like a sort of disassociative perspective.
Makes sense.
So there's that, but then there's also, like, the person going towards the door versus the person running away from, like, the blurry figure. And then even the spires had, like, multiple spires on each end. And then, of course, the one about her waking up in the morning, she's, like, looking at a mirror and whatnot. But yeah, just had a lot of thoughts on it that I didn't really have a chance to go into last time, but I was kind of thinking about afterwards. But it was definitely really good. I loved it a lot. A lot of people in the comments for the game were saying that, like, both games were really important for them because it was one of the only ones that they really felt they connected with in terms of, like, talking about certain mental disorders and whatnot, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways. So I went rambling on for a while. Sorry about that.
No worries. I'm used to it.
Heck yeah. We ready for some Hakuoki for the first time in 5 million years?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me I hope the audio is okay, because I turned it down a lot, because I'm always worried that it's gonna blast our eardrums, but now I'm also worried that it's gonna be not loud enough. Wait, I need to do this the manual way. There we go. Badoop. So, I'm gonna show the opening first, like usual. Because the opening, I'm pretty sure, will be different this time for this second part. Look at everybody with their new outfits. But yeah, I honestly still don't know how this is gonna work in terms of the fact that they cut it in half, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's cool to see everyone wearing more like modern outfits. Really shows how the times are changing.
Yeah. Yeah, because this happened in the original too, where it was like, oh, here's the time skip, and now they're all wearing these new clothes. But yeah, it definitely shows that we're ending up in this new era of Japan. We're leaving kind of the traditional era to the more modern era.
Definitely showing a bigger focus on romance.
Yeah, the romance comes in much more, which is why I think it's so weird that they split it in half. Because the first part of the game, in the original as well as in this, as we saw, has barely any romance. It's mostly focused on the story and like the historical events.
A history game, and now it's actually a dating game.
Yeah, because the romance in all the routes comes during the second half of the game. So it's weird that they split it in half. Because it's like, if you didn't know that and you just went to the first game, you would probably be like, where the frick is the romance? Is there any romance in this game?
Yeah, I'm not gonna play the sequel. There was no romance in the first one.
Yeah. It's like, no, all the romance is in the second one. Wait, there's a continue option? Oh, wait, no.
Oh, yeah, continue from
a
different run of this one.
Yeah. So, are they gonna force us to pick the right choices again, or are we just gonna be able to pick? That's the real question. Yeah, we just left it as Chizuru, right? Yeah, because I remember I talked about how it was weird that they didn't keep the fact that they would talk, like, say her name beforehand. Also, look at her new outfit!
Hey.
I love it. I love the new outfit.
That's very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go. Yes, Chizuru, please. Oh yeah, we get to pick! We don't have to worry about it.
Nice.
So we're going with Cosmo, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. Time for the man that is way too obsessed with marrying us.
This total creep that we're only tolerating because he's handsome.
Yeah, basically. He gets a pass because he's hot.
Too real.
It's like real life. Winter 1864. In order to find my father, with whom I'd lost contact, Chizuru, you keep. I don't know why are we saying it like this?
Captain Slav. James D. Kirk.
Oh my gosh, they should make a version of Hakuoki, but it's like sci-fi in space. It'd be great. Visited Kyoto. In that city, I bore witness to a horrifying secret hidden within a group called the Shinsegumi, the Furry, a creature with white hair and crimson eyes. Did you forget that it was?
I forgot that we were doing that.
Yeah. Luckily, I was saved from the vicious clutches of the furries by the members of the Shinsegumi. Those terrible furries. We were saved from them. Oh wait, gotta make sure it's streaming properly. There's never a good place to put my face on stream. It's like no matter where I put it, I'm gonna be covering something.
Streamers, of course.
Yeah.
So why you just do it like those streamers who just have their face as the main and then put the game in one corner.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably a better option than what I always try and do. I'm just gonna make my face smaller. There we go.
It's mostly for streamers that are streaming more for their ego in the game.
Yeah. Because I had discovered the Shinsegumi secrets, it was proposed that I live with the Shinsegumi men since they were also searching for my father. I was given the position as the commander's page, and thus my life with the Shinsegumi began. I heard rumors, well, whispers really, that the Shinsegumi were little more than a bunch of crooked ronin, but my life with them proved otherwise. Their commitment to protect the safety of Kyoto made them the last of a dying breed, true samurai. It set them apart from those who only crave power. It was during this time that a group of demons led by a figure named Chikage Kazuma emerged standing in opposition to the Shinsegumi. Also, this just reminded me. Can I open? No, not that. How do I open settings and stuff? Not letting me. Because I didn't change it. Oh, well, I guess we skipped all that text. Well, we just played the game, so it's kind of okay.
Yeah.
The tug and pull of the demon's relentless pursuit revealed itself to be quite the tense struggle. At the time, the fate of the shogunate was threatened by the Satsuma Chosu, which later accumulated in an inevitable battle for control of the nation. Because I just realized I didn't turn off the voices. So
right.
The voices are still on, but I don't know how to access the settings. It's not letting me yet. During this battle, later known as the Battle of the Toba Fushimi, I found myself hopelessly separated from the Shinsegumi only to be rescued by Kazuma. Unfortunately, victory was unanimously declared in favor of the Satsuma Chosu, much to my despair. In a show of desperate abandon, the Shinsegumi retreated back to Edo with the remaining forces. With the aid of Kazuma, I embarked on the trip back to Edo in search of the Shinsegumi, making my way back the city I used to call home. Biggest of beefs. Back to chapter 1 again. Oh, thank you for this random picture of a door. This really tells me what this chapter will be about. Oh, achievement unlocked. Not today, demon. Early winter, 1868. Intensifying tensions between the shogunate army and the Satsuma Chosu were reaching their limits. Thus, the Battle of Toba Fushimi erupted in Kyoto. Term referring to the loyalists who still chose to fight for the shogunate following its terrible defeat at the Battle of Oh my god! Spoilers! Remaining members were often arrested and executed by imperial troops for conspiracy and treason.
I think that's stuff that happened in the last game, though, right?
Yeah. A battle that erupted in early 1868 within Kyoto's Toba and Fushimi districts waged between imperial and shogunate troops. The shogunate forces were swiftly overpowered and defeated. Oh, there we go! There we go.
Hey.
Oh god, thank god. Toggle voices. So we would take off Hijikata, you take off Soji, you take off Hajime, we basically take off everybody that's important. Did we do voices for these guys? I can't remember.
I mean, some of them might be new as well.
No, these were all people we could have also dated, but we didn't really do anything with.
Okay.
You could just leave them in. It's fine. Let's take off Kondo.
Shimada can be off.
Amagiri, Shinarui. We didn't voice Kaoru, right? We definitely voiced Kodo, because you had that great voice for him. We didn't voice Sen either, I think. I
don't think so.
I think Sen and Kimigiku were just voicing themselves.
Yeah. Takeda was me, but I thought he died, but that's...
Yeah. I think some of these people, it depends on the route, basically. There's some people who die and some people that don't, depending on the route. And some of them, they only survive if you do their route, so... Some big beef moments right there. Yeah, I think that's it.
Alright.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. And also, let's save here.
And if we forgot anyone, we'll notice when it happens.
Yeah.
We can always change it later.
Yeah. The Shinsengumi have been honorably tasked with the order of guarding the Fushimi magistrate, but upon witnessing the Satsuma Chosu's devastating firepower, much of which had been purchased by Western arms dealers, the Shinsengumi was forced to retreat. In the ensuing chaos of the magistrate's evacuation, I was separated from the Shinsengumi, isolated amidst a sea of bullets and cannons firing overhead. I fled helplessly to the outskirts of Kyoto, taking refuge in the vast forest until a traitorous band of ex-shogunate soldiers discovered me, where Kazuma, who arrived at the scene coincidentally, saved me from their dastardly clutches.
Dastardly.
A demon previously affiliated with the Satsuma domain. He heads the Kazuma clan, and he seeks the protagonist as his bride. It was in this time that I reunited with Father, or as others know him, Kodo Yukimura, as well as my estranged twin brother, Kaoru Nagumo. Okay, oh my gosh, gotta put this down. A Dutch-educated doctor in the service of the shogunate and the father of the protagonist. He has been missing since shortly before his arrival in Kyoto. He was experimented on the Shinsengumi. He was rumored to be in the western part of Japan. Oh my gosh. I never remember how oh, there we go. The protagonist's estranged twin brother. He serves as the head of the Nagumo clan, but carries aspirations to revive the Yukimura clan. But there was a very different air about Father, and he was no longer the man I loved dearly. The protagonist's missing father, who was secretly performing experiments upon the furries in collaboration with the Satsuma Chosu. He synthesized a serum called the Water of Life, which was commissioned by the Satsuma Chosu Alliance in the interest of You know, we know all this. We know this. I'm skipping it.
Yeah.
Because we literally, like, this might be good if we had spent a lot of time not playing between the games, but it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. It's only 2 ages.
Yeah. So, we're going to Edo to help out. Let's go. Oh, look at this fog. Wind gently caressed my cheeks on our route to Edo, singing its hushed song. Oh! Oh, snap! Singing his hushed song through the pines. A thick fog enveloped the mountain road, covering the rows of trees ahead. The fresh scent of dew, cupped on the leaves, hit our noses immediately. The Tokaido was still under shogunate jurisdiction. For Kazuma, who had been strongly affiliated with the Satsuma, this was enemy territory, a domain governed by an opposition daimyo named Shimazu. Initially, they supported the imperial unification, but eventually allied with the Chosu domain and other like-minded men in the interest of removing the shogunate. In order to avoid being detected and engaging in unnecessary violence, we had no choice but to abandon our horse and travel down an off-trail path. My mind had been elsewhere, focusing on the hope that the rest of the Shinsengumi had arrived safely. I was plagued with a haunting vision, one in which some members had survived, left to suffer alone in the battlefield as their life faded atop the cinders. My arms and legs were scraped by the scattering of branches sticking into the path as my eyes struggled to make out anything in the impenetrable darkness. I ignored my cuts, choosing to push forward instead.
Calm down for a moment, would you? At this pace, you're only going to overexert yourself well before we reach an inn.
I appreciate your concern, but if we want to get to Edo as soon as possible, then we need to be quick about it.
Well, it isn't going to happen simply because you will it. Tonight, we rest here.
But...
Your supreme commander, Lord Yoshinobu Tokugawa, has already embarrassed you with his surrender. Although it wouldn't surprise me, given how painfully obtuse those serving in the shogunate can be. I believe it'll be some time until they are prepared to stage another large-scale battle. Without a war to fight, Kodo will have no master to give his bone. Phrasing. Thus stifling any of his plans.
It must be like some Japanese, like, idiom, you know? That is, like, kind of hard to translate into English.
You'll have no master to bone. So quit your incessant rushing. Nothing you do now will be of any consequence later.
What Kazuma argued made a lot of sense, or more likely because I've been aggressively jaunting through rough, dimly lit terrain. My feet were swollen, throbbing to the point that taking another step might cause me to topple over.
As luck would have it, I believe I see a deserted house over there. Why don't we take a look inside?
That seems like a bad idea. Okay, let's hope that there's no witch there to eat us or something. And I hope Baba Yaga isn't there. Its dilapidated exterior gave me the frights, but nevertheless I followed behind Kazuma's lead. The house itself was very modest in size. A fine film of dust covered every inch of the floor, giving me the impression that it had been vacated ages ago. Is it really okay for the two of us to waltz into this house unannounced?
I would sooner call this a hut than a house. Rather austere, isn't it? It's obvious, though, that no one lives here, so surely no one will mind. Or go ahead and sleep outside if you'd like. I guarantee you'll be frozen by morning.
Although the thought of intruding upon someone's house somewhat unsettled me, there was no way I could die out here. Not before I discovered the whereabouts of my father and brother and thwarted their evil plans! Fortunately, Kazuma found a room with some dingy bedding arrangements, so at the very least, I wouldn't freeze like he suggested. I wonder if we're gonna have to share a bed, guys, or something.
We will.
We will.
But they're not even married yet.
I know! It's starting to sound like a Victorian novel. Like, oh! Cosma saw her ankle! Kazuma's eyes darted around the room attentively, and he stepped towards a sunken fireplace, lowering himself to take a pinch of old soot between his fingers.
Forsooth, thine ankles be unclothed. Scandalous.
Scandalous! Being alone in this derelict house with him was nerve-wracking, though I didn't want to admit it. Without anything to contribute to the conversation, I kept my... What conversation? We weren't even having a conversation. I kept my silence, watching him examine the fireplace. Kazuma's eyes thinned as he stroked his chin calmly. How do I operate a fireplace? He's thinking.
How do I stoke this fire like the fire that has been ignited in my loins?
Amazing. After a moment, he reached his hand into his pocket, taking from it pieces of flint to try to start a fire. Kazuma? If you're trying to start a fire, I could do it.
Nah, he doesn't know how to do something. Just shut up and sit tight. This will warm us soon enough.
I hope that he struggles with this. I think it would be funny.
It's so funny. I love the idea of a character that seems like a badass because they're super good at fighting, but then it turns out they can't do anything else.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, it would be so... It's so funny that he, like, if he's just, like, sitting there trying to, like, light the fire and he's, like, throwing lint on it and going, like, why isn't this working? And she's just sitting there. But isn't building a fire a little bit more difficult than that? Back when I lived in Edo with my father, or even when I lived with the Shinsengumi, it was rare that we would need to build a fire from scratch. More often than not, we could rely on the hospitality of our neighbors to provide materials when they were unavailable.
Yes, building a fire can be quite difficult. But only a human would shy away from difficulty. It's in their miserable nature.
What do you mean?
We spend all night banging two rocks together.
Yeah. He's like, I'll never give up. And then he finally gets a spark. He's like, oh snap, I finally got a spark. And Chizuru is like, it's already morning, let's go. Kazuma held each piece of flint in his hands, clapping them together in a swift motion to produce sparks. Once more, he reached into his pocket, pulling from it a piece of parchment to use as kindling over the small, sunken fireplace, then continued to clap the flint. Oh, he did it! He did it! Whoa!
Aww.
After a few more seconds, the sparks turned...
Disappointed.
Yeah, me too. I'm also disappointed. I was hoping for that as well. The sparks turned into embers over the parchment. Kazuma blew air into the flame, creating a fire where one hadn't been for ages. Although Kazuma was the one who suggested that the two of us rest for the night in this dingy house, he hadn't looked exhausted in the slightest. Perhaps I wondered he was only suggesting that we rest for my sake, which made me blush.
No, he's only suggesting it so he can spend some alone.
Yeah, that's basically it. You're just like, I just want to cuddle with you. That was my thing.
Oh no, I can't get the fire started. Looks like we'll have to cuddle up.
Oh, Kazuma, you idiot. You had a chance.
And then she's like, no, wait, let me do it. I'm very good at this. And then she makes the fire. It's like, god damn it. Come a little closer to the fireplace. You're shivering.
Oh, okay.
I think I've been giving him my Hijikata voice.
I mean, they basically are foils, so...
Yeah.
I did as he instructed and approached him beside the fire, extending my hands over it for warmth. My hands, which had become numb from the cold, wintry night, were tingly as feeling returned. The shadow twisted and flickered upon Kazuma's stoic face as he gazed quietly at the flame. I realized while staring at Kazuma that there wasn't much of anything that I knew about him, let alone the history of his people or where he came from. To me, they were simply demons who were ideologically and politically opposed from the Shinsengumi. and that, as a demon woman, I was their target. This was the extent of my knowledge, as his people had enshrouded themselves in secrecy for generations, so much so that even I had no idea I was a demon. All I knew was that Chikage Kazuma, Kyuju Amagiri, and Kyo Shiranui were all fierce, cunning warriors. Everything else was a complete enigma to me. Kazuma, would you mind sharing some stories with me about our people, about the demons? Where did this... Oh wait, no, that's you.
Where did this come from?
It's so weird because we can't see normally the people popping up to let us know what's going on.
Yeah.
So, if what you said, my father and my brother all said was true, then I too am part of the demon clan, right? But I can't help but feel so disconnected from it all. I have no idea where demons came from, how long they've been around, or what they even are. That's why I want to know more about myself and about all of you, too. I was staring straight into Kazuma's face, watching his scarlet eyes fixate on the fireplace scornfully. For a moment he was silent, until he begrudgingly turned his face in my direction.
Even the fire gets scorn from him.
Yeah, not even the fire is safe. He's like, the fire is not a demon.
I hate you. I hate you, fire. I made you and I hate you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not a historian. I don't know how the demons came to be, nor when they decided to settle this country. But one thing I know for sure is the cycle of strife and bloodshed between demons and humans is a tale as old as time. We demons will never lose to a human if it is a one-on-one duel, but...
Tale as old as time. Sound as old as rhyme. Humans and the demons.
What humans have that we do not is the gift of numbers. Tiger may be the toughest hunter in the jungle, but there's no limit to how much prey. But there is a limit to how much prey it can hunt. Human greed, however, has no limit. There's our edgelord boy.
Yep.
Thus, demons decided to exile themselves as a measure against the destructive force of humans. Some demons, however, chose to resist the stain of inferiority encroaching upon our lands. Their resistance proved futile. In the end, the humans exterminated them without remorse.
If you were ever told the legends or folk tales of demons in the past, this is where their legend bears its Oh wait, no, this is you.
Oh yeah. This is where the legend bears its origin. Some of them, those that survived at least, are still alive, living in the shadows all across this country.
I wondered to myself how the demon clans might cope with being driven into hiding. Listening to Kazuma speak of his people's history so coldly raised so many questions for me.
I think we already know the top one, basically.
Let's save.
Always smart.
Yeah. Just like last time, this first time will be us just picking answers.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we get a bad ending, we'll come back and redo it.
You mean when?
I feel like it'll be easier this time. But we'll see.
Know where we're going, who we're going with at least.
Yeah. And also, since we're already on a route, we don't have to worry about as much about getting on somebody else's route.
Yeah.
So there's less choices.
I think the bottom one makes the most sense.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I think I remember something that Sen told me in the past. Sen told me that my family, the Yukimura clan, held a lot of prestige amongst some of the other clans. Do you happen to know anything about the Yukimura clan, Kazuma? All of what I had learned came from Sen, that I had descended from the bloodline of one of the largest clans in our kind's history. She also told me that the Yukimura village was destroyed by humans. Kazuma could shed some if Kazuma could shed some light on anything concerning the fate of my ancestors, then I want to know. I gazed back at him curiously, but Kazuma turned his head away from me.
Your family history is something with which I am ill acquainted. In some ways, you may be aware of more than I am.
I see.
You will have to ask Kodo or Kaori Nagumo yourself when the time arises. That is, if they decide to share the truth with you.
Well, do you know anything about any of the other families around the same region?
Every region has a scattering of clans governed by each other's strongest members, but now there's neither the impetus nor the infrastructure for us to communicate, leaving our activities in the dark to the watchful eyes of other demon clans.
I see, thank you. It was a tad deflating to hear him say that, so I flicked my eyes towards the flailing arms of the fire. The flames continued to crackle, punctuating the silence flowing between Kazuma and me.
We start early tomorrow morning. Perhaps it would be better for you to rest now.
In all honesty, I wanted to continue talking with Kazuma for a little longer, but you're right, I think I will then. There was still so much of the mountain that we had left to trudge through, so I needed every minute of rest that I could get. It wasn't until I got close enough to the bedding that I realized how moldy and musty it was. Oh, Kazuma! Do you really expect me to sleep here?
Pardon me? How many other rooms do you see?
But... As I listened carefully for any sound outside the house, I picked up none, not a single bird nor insect. Seemingly the only life in the nearest mile radius was Kazuma and myself. That's right, just us alone.
What's wrong? Hadn't you crawled off to sleep?
I know! Although both of us are demons, and in spite of how I had been dressed, the fact remained that Kazuma was a man and I am a woman.
Uh-oh.
Here we were, the two of us, sleeping under the same roof like it was nothing. This really is a Victorian novel, oh my gosh.
You've slept in a house full of men.
I know! What the freak? Why would she be freaking out about this when she literally was in a legit complex just of men?
I suppose she had her own room there. But
well, yeah, she did have her own room the whole time, which is why, like, some of the soldiers were envious of her. Being like, oh, why do you get your own room, but we all have to sleep in one room?
Hello, Azure.
Oh, it's Azure! Hi, Azure. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? I love you so much. Welcome. I didn't want to tip Kazuma off suspiciously about my behavior, but just in case, I discreetly pulled the bedding from beside his bed towards the far corner next to the fireplace. No matter how sly I tried to be, Kazuma picked up on it immediately and smirked mockingly at me.
Nice. I noticed how uncomfortably your eyes have been. Why is he starting with nice? It's so weird.
I was trying so hard to hold it in. I couldn't
keep reading this sentence because it's just like, why does he start with nice? It's so weird.
Nice.
It's so out of character.
69. 420.
Hell yeah. Nice.
Oh my god.
I noticed how uncomfortably your eyes had been shifting, but now it all makes sense to me.
Also, Azure said, living with 7 guys is just having fun. Living with one guy is very intimate, you know? Too real.
Yeah.
You have a problem with that? I mean, I am a woman. I just figured it was better to be safe than sorry.
You think moving your bed 2 feet will stop me?
edgelord extraordinaire over here going, hee hee.
Just the breaks character when it comes to talk about romance, I guess. He just gets giddy, like a small child.
Heck yeah. Why was he sniggering? He's like, nice. His eyes thinned as they darted towards me. He spoke sharply, his voice just above a whisper.
Do you intend for me to make a move on you?
Oh, of course not. My cheeks were burning, and not because of the fire.
I'm simply messing with you. You take me for some boorish creep, don't you? I mean, you've not done anything to prove the opposite, but...
Yeah.
Demons hold tradition and decorum to a high standard. Fear not, I will not lay a finger upon you until our marriage is finalized.
Let me guess,
there's... Christian boy.
Yeah, he's... Oh my god. Oh boy. Oh my god. It's just... This is absolutely gonna lead to some problems, though, I'm betting, in this route, where it's like, before they have a chance to get married, Kazuma's gonna be all like... Oh no. I want to kiss her.
Screw the rules.
Yeah. Marriage? Why
are you surprised?
Yeah,
he's been saying this all along.
Yeah, he's literally been constantly talking about this.
Do you really think he forgot about that?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Rip. Got friend-zoned.
Oh, but I have no desire to marry yet. Friend zone to the extreme. Your desires
are irrelevant.
Cosmo is like, oh, nice guys finish last. Oh.
Forget it, just get some sleep. But I saved your life, therefore you owe me sex?
Yeah, basically.
Tomorrow will be even more grueling. It will be in your best interest to rest.
Okay. Cosmo spat out harshly at me. Patu.
I spit in you.
But I knew his intentions were kind, so I didn't see it.
Really?
It's legitimately into
Are
the
they?
damn Betty.
I don't think so.
I don't know. Chizuru is...
He literally just wants you to sleep because he's annoyed.
Yeah. Chizuru is Stockholm syndroming herself.
Yeah, really hard.
He's like, oh, he legit spit at me, but I know he did for good reason. He cares, even though there's saliva all over me now.
Oh no, not even married yet, already battered wife syndrome.
Yeah. Although it hadn't gone without saying that I was still skeptical of Kazuma. But for now, I had to trust that he wouldn't lie to me or take advantage of me while under his custody. More than that, it was far more pertinent that I should worry about Father and Kaoru's whereabouts. I was terrified by the thought of Father's new furries mercilessly overwhelming the Shinsengumi with their savage hunger. I must do whatever it takes to stop them. I shut my eyes uneasily, falling asleep as the fire cracked hauntingly behind me.
Just damn hungry furries.
Yeah. One fursuit is never enough. As I awoke... Huh? Every inch of my body ached, and it felt as though I closed my eyes and opened them a second later. Wait, was he just sitting there like that the whole time? How long have we been asleep?
It's just been 3 days.
He's like been a statue the whole time. He's like, actually, I can't move. I'm now stuck in this position. Kazuma was fixed in place exactly as he had been when I fell asleep, giving me the strangest feeling of time dilation. Sunlight reflected through the window, illuminated the cloud of dust particles floating in the room. A sparrow brightly chirped outside. It was morning indeed. Is it morning? It was morning indeed. No. Is it morning?
Yeah. Ah, you have awoken after 10,000 years. As soon as you're ready, we will depart.
Okay. Although it felt like I hadn't slept at all. At the very least, I was able to recuperate somewhat from the previous day, just in time for another physically demanding trek. Kazuma, did you stay up the whole night?
Well, not the whole night.
Or so Kazuma claimed, but I had another idea. It was likely he observed the fire until sunrise, stoking it quietly in anticipation of morning. Thank you.
Why are you thanking me? I do not recall doing anything to deserve your gratitude. Baka. Just hurry up and get ready. You want to find Kodo as soon as possible, don't you?
Kazuma sneered as he spoke, swiftly exiting the room as soon as the words left his mouth. My initial impression was a curt, egotistical man who intimidated and murdered his foes without remorse, but perhaps there was more to him than I realized, that deep down he had a soft heart.
There was more to him. There was more terrible, horrible personality.
Even more that we didn't even know. Not only does he murder, but he also murders and kills. Very different thing. Ever since I became separated from the Shinsengumi, moments like these turned out to be few and far between, but I caught my lips curling into a sweet smile ever so slightly, and my chest felt warm from the inside. Kazuma and I traversed the mountain path, walking past the dense rows of trees stretching as far as the eye could see. At long last, we reached a milestone, passing beside the most precipice mountain in the country, Hakone. This was a positive side, as Edo wasn't too far away. As we tried passing the Sekisho, however...
The what now?
A famous, well-fortified toll station that oversaw all of the transit through the Tokaido. Its close proximity to Edo made it the primary location for the strict monitoring of guests into the city. So that's why this was the main image for this chapter.
Oh.
Chotto matte. A voice...
Machidasai.
Yeah, machidasai. A voice suddenly called out to us from behind. This voice belonged to... Oh, shoot! Amigiri! What are you doing here?
I thought we had...
Oh, this was Doodle.
Ah, it was Doodle.
Yeah, Doodle was both this guy and the other guy. I am en route to deliver a confidential letter on behalf of the Satsuma to a certain other domain. What a coincidence to run into the two of you on my way there.
You would do best to ignore the Satsuma's orders. Consider the current balance of power. They no longer need us to serve as couriers to help their meaningless cause.
I had a feeling you'd have a snarky remark. I'm here of my own volition. I figured there to be no need to cast the Satsuma aside just yet.
Suit yourself, fool.
Oh, snap. He's fool. Well, the two of you made excellent time to Edo, but... Just how do you plan on passing through the Sekisho over there?
With violence.
Well, yeah, that's probably what Kazuma's about to say. He's like, anyone who tries to stop us
cut
is
down everyone
dead.
in my way.
Yeah. Ever since I became Sephiroth, says Hatcher. Kazuma was taking the lead so decisively that I never stopped to think there would ever be an issue. I glanced over at him worryingly, but he seemed unfazed, answering Amigiri with a deadpan delivery.
I have a pass. It should work, no problem.
I hate to be presumptive, but things have changed quite a bit since when we were here given those passes. Since those passes are valid under the condition that we serve the Satsuma and not the Shogunate. I'm certain that if you present your pass, they will stop you at the Sekisho to verify your identities, which makes things complicated for you. However, is the suggestion that you no longer serve the Satsuma.
Enough of your riddles, you imp. Why don't you just say whatever it is you're getting at?
I recommend that the two of you find another path, perhaps something more remote, to sneak into Edo. Kazuma leered at Amagiri irritably, visibly annoyed by his suggestion.
Another path? Are you seriously expecting the two of us to discover a more suitable path to enter Edo, around Hakone?
Hey, I'm just trying to give you some advice. Wouldn't want there to be any trouble for you.
In case you weren't aware, the shogunate lost the Battle of Toba Fushimi. I doubt there will be issues. Surely the Satsuma would think twice before questioning my allegiances.
You underestimate the humans. Just because the Supreme Commander was so willing to abdicate his position in the heat of battle does not mean that all humans are pushovers. They will not be so understanding to your plea.
Damn you, Amagiri. Where do you get the gall to speak to me so audaciously?
Kazuma was fuming, and his voice only became louder with each smug refutation given by Amagiri. I find it so funny that Amagiri is just bullying him.
Yeah, Kazuma's coming here all cocky like, oh, I've cast aside the Satsuma, they're of no use to me. Well, actually, without the Satsuma, your pass doesn't work, so... You should have kept them, like me.
Yeah.
You know, me, who you call a fool for doing that exact thing.
Yeah. Kazuma really thinks super highly of himself, but he's actually kind of dumb. Like, he's kind of stupid. He's kind of a himbo. Who thinks that he's super smart. If they continue to bicker publicly, then the soldiers stationed at the Sekisho would surely notice. I must find a way to calm down Kazuma somehow. I don't know. This is... Wait, let me save real quick. Did I save?
I don't know how her father, like, factored into this.
What? I don't understand how this is supposed to...
Is he here at this checkpoint?
He's, like, standing right there at the checkpoint. It's like, oh, my father, he's right there at the checkpoint.
Don't worry, my dad will get us in.
Yeah, don't worry, my dad will get us in. Or, oh no, I'm not ready for him to know that I'm getting married. Get away.
Oh no, my father will notice us.
I don't know.
I guess the top one. Don't know how either of these are relevant, but...
Yeah, it's very weird. It's a very weird choice. In terms of... I don't know, because... What? So, are we trying to say, like, you're the head of a demon clan, so you should act more respectfully? Is that what he's saying? Or what we're trying to say here?
I guess.
See,
or that you need to be more careful, or...
Yeah.
Like, it could go a lot of different directions. It's the classic ambiguous dialogue option.
But I feel like that will just make him upset, because... like, he'll probably be like, I know. Like, he knows more about that stuff than we do. I think this is more what she would say.
Yeah, top one, maybe he would take it as patronizing, probably.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's more in character.
If the two of us have trouble entering the city, then it may arouse the suspicion of both my father and my brother to our plans.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Although the trip may take a little bit longer, we should probably look for another route. Also, it feels more, like, in character for her, too, to say something like this. I don't think she would care whatever the demons really do yet, because she's not really a part of that just yet. She's still, like, just entering it. Kazuma's lips purse momentarily, carefully thinking over what I had said. Oh, so our last choice was wrong.
Yeah.
Wah, wah. Well, we can make
I don't know if all of the choices have a possibility of getting the...
normally they do. Especially if it's during this part of the route, they should tell us whether a choice is right or not.
Rip.
So, well, as I said, I'm pretty sure we have some leeway. If it's like the original game, we have some leeway to make some bad choices, but we'll see. You make it... Oh, wait, no, that's you.
You make a good point. We wouldn't want either of them to raise any suspicions. Very well. If you feel up to the challenge, then finding another way won't be too difficult. I don't care how taxing the thrill is, though. Okay. You better not bitch at all. So weird. Why translate it like that?
Yeah, every time they bring in like cussing, every time they bring cussing into like both of these games, it's been so hilarious.
It feels so out of place.
Yeah, because I mean the problem with translating things, any of these things, is that Japanese doesn't really have as many cuss words as like English does. There is like one particular cuss word, but that's basically it. But there's a lot of variety in terms of how things can be said. Like basically any word can be said.
Yeah, a lot of things that get translated as cuss words are just like you in a rude way.
yeah, basically. Like he's probably just saying this very like informally. And I think the reason why they translate it like this is because if it was just translated as him saying it informally, we wouldn't get the fact that he's being really rude about it. You know, because we don't, like, in English, it's not really considered, like, to say things informally is kind of normal in English. Like, it's actually more weird to be formal about things, whereas in Japanese, it's more weird to be informal rather than formal. So the fact that I guess this is their way of trying to show that he's being rude in an English sense, you know?
Yeah. Still feels weird.
It is weird. Yes, I understand. Well, I will be on my way now. Do be careful. Amagiri bowed respectfully. Without another word, he spun on his heel and vanished into the desolate, wintry forest.
Never to be seen again.
Yeah, he just disappears forever. Kazuma and I nodded at one another, walking away from the Sekisho towards an uphill trail that was far from the well-trodden path.
Already out of breath, are you? See, I told you this would be too much for you.
No, I'm fine. The steep inclines around Hakone were dotted with wide, thick boulders, which made our grueling hike even more laborious. A billow of thick mist stretched all around me, obscuring my sense of direction. Just then... Oh no! We're gonna fall! It's like, that's the end of the route. Like, oh, you die. Dogma. My foot slipped upon a loose, wet rock, and I just nearly tumbled off the cliff into the valley when a hand grabbed hold of me.
Whose hand is it?
Yeah, who would have thought? It's like, what if it's just some random jabroni who just is like, when do you appear? I tried to shake off my horror upon... Yeah, it's Hichikata who just happens to be there.
I was taking a stroll.
I tried to shake off my horror upon seeing Kazuma on the edge of the cliff as I held onto him for dear life.
Are you alright?
Oh, in one swift, forceful movement, he yanked me back up onto the trail. I was silent for a moment, stealing my nerves from that near-death experience. I just imagine, like, she's, like, tumbling off the edge, he grabs her, and then he's just like, whoop, and, like, yeets her in the air onto the ground.
Flipped her over his head.
Yeah. The thought of Kazuma rescuing me stood at odds with the initial impression I had of him as a crude, sadistic warrior who hated the Shinsengumi. Although this wasn't the first time he had saved me, it was something to which I needed to become accustomed.
Why aren't you answering me? Are you injured?
No, I'm fine. He actually looks worried here. I'm surprised. Yeah. This is like the first time we've seen like another emotion besides like haughty or angry. Or nothing.
My pride must remain pristine.
Oh, thank
Even though she's been shot several times already.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
He becomes a villager. Kazuma spun around to continue trudging through the trail, keeping my hand tightly clasped in his. Aww.
It's almost cute.
Yeah.
Totally crushing her hand with his.
Yeah, he's like, he has it in his hand. Oh my gosh, like, look at that. It's like a claw. He has like his claw over her hand. The way he's
also the way he's holding it looks painful. Just like smushing the bones together.
He's like, ow, Kazuma, you're hurting me. He's like, I'm just holding your hand and you can hear like the bones cracking. Kazuma, what are you doing?
Dry twigs.
Oh, yeah. Kazuma, don't crush my hands can't be used for a fire.
Shut up, I need kindling. What are you on about now?
You're still holding my hand. Oh! Kazuma forcefully yanked my hand into my... I can't believe we were right. He's like crushing it.
A mountain trail is no place for a woman to hike through alone. Stick close to me, understand?
For a woman.
For a femoid such as yourself.
Okay, thank you. I was slightly embarrassed by Kazuma's suggestion, but I did as I was told and wove his fingers into mine. His hands were surprisingly warm and comforting, despite his grasp being so firm. I almost forgot that they belonged to someone who could easily slit my throat at any given moment.
Your hand feels warm because all the blood is rushing out to fix the broken bone.
Yeah. Suddenly, I remember the question that I wished to ask him earlier, and I tugged at him slightly. Kazuma?
What is it now?
Were you trying to pass through the Sekisho for my sake earlier? Initially, Kazuma had no response, instead choosing to glare at me from the corner of his eye. But...
Female demons are different from male demons. Although your wounds can regenerate, your stamina is just as meek as any ordinary humans would be.
That sucks! That sucks! What the frick? What the frick? Why? Why?
Just to make you weak and submissive, I guess.
It's very submissive and breedable.
Yeah, basically. Therefore, the female demons are often left behind in our villages, under the watchful protection of the males who ensure their survival.
I can't believe this is Omegaverse. This is a legit Omegaverse. He's the alpha and she's the Omega.
Oh no. Doesn't matter, even among the superhuman races with ultra strength, the women are still weak and must be protected at all costs.
Yeah, this is why So I mentioned earlier that after I finished playing 3 Houses, I'm planning to play like this new Otome game that came out recently. Well, it came out before, but then the official English translation has only been done like very recently, like a month or so ago. Called Birushana, I think is what it's called. And basically, the main character is also like Chizuru in the sense that she's a woman who has to dress like a man to be seen as like a warrior who leads her clan to prosperity, basically. And from what I've heard is like, from what I've seen for the trailers, is that she actually, like, they don't just say like, oh, she knows how to fight and then she can't fight. Like, she legitimately is a super skilled fighter and can beat people up and stuff. And I'm like, heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Nice, finally.
Yeah, I think it's such a finally moment, because there was also this other game called Nightshade that I think was made by the same company that came out like years before Birushana, and it had like a similar premise in the sense that like the main character is also like one of the last members of a clan and has to lead it to prosperity, though for her, like, she actually gets to live as just a girl. But in that game, I felt like, despite being like raised as a ninja and stuff, I felt like there was still a lot of times where it was like she was treated as if she couldn't do anything. Despite being a ninja, I'm like, she's a freaking ninja.
Yeah.
But it seems like with this, for what I've seen, that they actually have the main character actually fight and do stuff, and I've read from reviews that they do that, so I'm like, heck yeah, I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I've been rewatching One Piece. It's a great show, but it definitely does not treat its female characters very well.
Yeah.
It's like a setting where, you know, guys can train really hard and just even ordinary humans become like absurdly strong, like Superman strong.
Yeah.
But then the women are just like, no, you're just weak.
Yeah, that's how a lot of shonen like series goes. Is that, you know, the guys are able to do all this stuff, and even if girls are also fighters, they'll always be weaker than the guys. Yep. I think one of the only shows I've seen that doesn't fall into that trap is Jujutsu Kaisen. That one actually has a lot of good female characters in it that can hold their own, which was like surprising to me. But also at the same time, the writer did like it's very obvious that the writer wrote the series as kind of a commentary on a lot of shonen series, because a lot of the tropes in Jujutsu Kaisen are basically like reversals on typical shonen tropes, like taking those typical tropes and like reversing it or taking it to a different direction than it normally is. Like,
I like that.
Yeah, like having, like, for example, having like this person, this power inside of you, and normally it's like, oh, if something bad happens, you could just resort to that power. But in the show, like, he tries to do that, and it just leads to everyone almost dying, basically. And instead of the way it kind of is a get-out-jail-free card in most other shonens.
Yeah, that's an actual cost associated with it.
Yeah. Anyways, according to what Cosmo was telling me, the natural instinct for male... Oh my god!
Still on about this.
The natural instinct for alphas was to guard the well-being, safety of their omegas.
The meek women folk.
Yeah. Like, legit, you could easily just make this an alpha omega fan fiction, and it would be the same. You wouldn't have to change anything. You would just have to change some of the words, and then you could publish it.
This girl is trained in sword fighting, and she has survived like multiple gunshot wounds. It's like, okay, fine, you're stronger than her, but she should at least be a lot stronger than the average normal human.
Yeah.
Like, even a man.
Yeah. Like, the thing is that at the start of the first game, it mentions that she got to Kyoto on her own. So she was already able to travel from Edo to Kyoto on her own. Just fine. Yeah. Why is she having trouble this time?
Yeah, they're doing the MMO RPG thing where like every race, the male version is like a gigantic muscle-bound demon, and then the woman is just like human but with green skin.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so dumb. In a way, it reminded me of the Shinsegumi's imperative to keep me safe. Yeah, it's so funny. Like, even in games, like, even with the Dragon Age series, where, I love the Dragon Age series, by the way. But, or actually, no, Dragon Age is pretty fine, but Mass Effect is especially where I think it comes into play, where you have like the aliens who, oh, like if they're female, they just are like, here's this lady who's blue.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and then like the male aliens are like these weird, horrific-looking creatures. It's like, why?
At least they do address that in later games, but in the start, definitely. A thing,
Yeah. In a way, it reminded me of the Shinsegumi's imperative to keep me safe.
This laborious journey will be over soon enough. Be patient and keep holding my hand.
She's like, I'm not even holding your hand. You just have like a claw on me.
Yeah, you're just crushing mine. Yeah.
Okay, I will.
I don't think they have a choice in the matter.
Prior to this, I don't think anyone could have convinced me that I would be willingly crossing Hakone hand in hand with Cosma, but as soon as we get to the other side of the mountain, we will arrive in Edo. Were the stories true, would Father truly be able to orchestrate a war with his army of furries in Edo? I anxiously awaited the future, worrying myself about whether or not I could stop him in time.
Behold my furry army.
It's like just a ton of people in fursuits. Like, you just see like these people with like giant cat heads and giant fox heads like coming at you.
It's like rainbow colors as well.
Yeah. Chapter 2. So yeah, the chapters are much smaller in this too. By the end of our brutal hike through Hakone's forgiving mountain ridge, we arrived in Edo safely, though my feet were ready to fall off. It was a stroke of good fortune that neither Father nor Kaoru had seemed to hear of our presence. My first order of business was reuniting with the Shinsegumi after weeks of separation, so I set off in search of their headquarters, but the headquarters were vacant, as all of the soldiers had seemingly embarked on a campaign for their next battle. Womp womp.
Remind me, why are we going back to Shinsengumi actually?
So basically, well, we came to this town to stop our father and brother, but I think we're just checking on the Shinsegumi because she was like, I'm not gonna just, I need to see how they're doing and stuff, and she convinced him for that. Makes basically sense.
The Shinsengumi are heading to Kofu,
a territory surrounding Edo under the jurisdiction of the shogunate that is generally regarded to be the land protecting Edo Castle. No specific lord governs this plot of land. Yes, or at least that's what Dr. Matsumoto told me. Is this guy a respected doctor who works as a close affiliate of the Tokugawa shogunate? He is cooperative with the Shinsegumi and is a colleague of Kodo Yukimura's. I love that they're both bald-headed men. Yeah. Why is it that both the doctors are bald-headed men? Like,
might be a doctor thing, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like you become a doctor, you gotta shave your hair off. Gotta become an egg.
So it doesn't fall into your patient's wound.
I had also discovered that the Shinsegumi renamed themselves as the Kyoyo Regulatory Company.
It's not nearly as catchy.
Yeah. A name bestowed by the shogunate onto the Shinsegumi prior to their mission to capture and hold Kofu Castle as a temporary means of legitimizing their organization. They were honorably asked with protecting the territory surrounding Kofu castles. They mobilized their troops and marched for Kofu immediately. Ieyasu Tokugawa established this castle as the last line of defense to protect Edo's borders. Oh wait, no, that's you.
How unbelievably foolish of them.
Can you imagine if that's what she says? She's like, how unbelievably foolish of them.
Their lives were graciously spared in Toba Fushimi. Now they're just as eager to throw them away.
What? They're not being foolish.
Do tell, girl. How else should they be described? Yoshinobu Tokugawa shamefully entered a self-imposed exile and locked himself in a temple to avoid any blame. Here they are, trying to leap back into the fray only weeks after a humiliating loss. But why?
But why?
But why? Neither the Tokugawa affiliate daimyo nor the Hideyoshi daimyo want anything to do with them. It's a hopeless endeavor. Defeat is guaranteed.
I wasn't sure if I was misinterpreting him, but was Kazuma expressing concern over the well-being of the Shinsengumi?
Nah.
I'm in no position to judge whether or not they're making a wise choice, but I don't think they're the type of people to get hung up on the likelihoods of winning and losing. In my experience, the Shinsengumi warriors were more interested in never having to compromise on their strict set of standards. It was a lifestyle that was beyond my scope of understanding since I wasn't actually a warrior. All of them
don't remind us.
Yeah, don't remind us of the missed opportunities. All of them adhere to their principles foremost, and this is an example of that, I am certain. Kazuma glanced at me from the corner of his eyes, raising his eyebrow irritably to my suggestion. Just looking at him made me shiver nervously, and I know to myself how strange it felt to interact with someone so unapologetically cold.
Adhere to their principles. Open your eyes. They rely more on instinct than logic. What makes them any different from an injured beast lashing out?
Injured beast? Kazuma dismissed the Shinsengumi to a degree that I could only describe as willful ignorance. I think what this is he doesn't want to acknowledge that there are some humans that can be different. Because he has, like, because he has these beliefs that all humans are, you know, these beasts who can't have, like, you know, moral standards and whatnot. But with the Shinsengumi, he's kind of being forced to reconcile with the fact that, hey, maybe that's not the case, and I think it's, like, hurting him a bit. He doesn't like it.
He's feeling the cognitive dissonance.
Yeah. I had never met anyone so incapable of empathy. It escaped me how Kazuma could mistake their sense of conviction as a desperate show of self-defense. However, as much as I wanted to argue, I chose not to say anything. Just as much as Kazuma had been basing his remarks on assumptions, I realized that I could just as easily be committing the same sin. In essence, there wasn't much of a point to arguing how other people decided to live their life. Very true.
Forget about the Shinsengumi. I couldn't care less at the moment.
Have you been able to ascertain the whereabouts? Oh wait, no, that's you.
Have you been able to ascertain the whereabouts of Kodo and Kaori Nagumo, though?
Unfortunately, no. I worked as hard as I could to get concrete details from both Dr. Matsumoto as well as some of my father's old colleagues, but none of them seemed to have any clue about where the two of them could be. Rolf? I can't believe Rolf died. Dang see. Also, no, Azure, get back here. Welcome back, Rolf. I missed ya.
Sorry, my mic is being annoying.
I see. No worries.
I don't know from what point I cut off.
You cut off before, like, you legit just went silent as this text appeared on the screen, so you didn't say anything.
Ah, there we go. If they are as adamant as they claim about going through with the Tubaku, then Edo will soon descend into chaos.
Formally staged coup to oust the shogunate from power. Feeding Father's army of furries would require a gracious amount of blood, which could cost the city thousands of innocent lives. I must find a way to stop Father's plot before there's any chance of putting Edo's citizens at risk. As I embrace this resolve to defeat Father in my heart, Kazuma spoke unexpectedly.
Whatever. I will see to it that both of them are eradicated, as of their disgusting army of fakes.
A pejorative term used by demons to refer to furries. I mean, specifically Kazuma.
Yeah.
We haven't really heard any other demon call them fakes.
Why don't you consider staying with the Matsumoto's man you mentioned earlier? Or even stay at the Shinsenkumi's headquarters?
Kazuma's question blindsided me, and it begged clarification. What are you talking about? I can deal with my father and brother myself.
My agreement with the Yase's demon princess was that I would escort you to Edo. Nothing more, nothing less.
An ancient demon clan based in Kyoto, they are one of the oldest clans in existence, one serving as the prevailing governors over other demon clans.
The deal never included a guarantee to dispose of Kodo or Kaori Nagumo.
But the entire reason we returned to Edo was to stop them.
How delusional can you be if you think they will entertain any of your asinine opinions?
Kazuma raised a good point.
Yeah, I guess they are asinine.
I thought back to what happened during the Battle of Toba Fushimi. Nothing I said could have gone through to either of them, which had been rather deflating. In spite of that encounter, I asked Kazuma a question. Kazuma, do you honestly plan on killing my father and brother?
Yes, I will be the only man in your life.
He's like, oh, I need to be the one true man, the only alpha in this team.
You don't need any family when you have me.
Yeah, basically. I may as well be
and all
speaking...
the other stock abusive boyfriend lines.
Yeah. I may as well have been speaking to a ghost as my question hovered awkwardly without an answer. His silence was telling. He refused to look me in the eye, choosing instead to stare blankly at the passerby. This is so funny to me. He's just like, he doesn't want to answer, so he's just like looking at the other people walking by, like to the side.
Oh, sorry, did you say something? Picking his nose.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time, I assume, until they expand their army of fakes. Do not go near them. To them, you are nothing more than a bothersome fly. Got it?
He spoke in a hushed tone. Oh. Without another word, Kazuma vanished into the crowd of people bustling down Edo streets. He just left.
Yeah, just disappeared.
Yeet. I realized too late that I hadn't properly thanked Kazuma for safely escorting me back to Edo. It was a far cry from how I had originally been acquainted with him, that is, as a thorn in the Shinsegumi's side. For all intents and purposes, our arrangement was over. This was not an issue for me, but what else was there for me to do at this point? Yeah, definitely not the end of that. He's still like, once I'm done with this, I'm marrying you. To prevent the terrifying expansion of Father's army of furries, Kazuma only had one option: finding Father and Kaoru, then killing them. I must do everything in my power to stop him. How? After gathering my bearings in Edo, I decided on the one place that I could still visit unannounced. It was my childhood home, which had been left unattended for however long I had been gone. Part of me clung to the naive hope that Father would be there, waiting for me, but the yard was long overgrown, filled with weeds peeking through the cracked stone path. As I stepped inside, the tatami mat was coated in a thick layer of dust, giving me the impression that few others had visited since my departure. Just where could Father be? During our last conversation, he seemed set on building momentum with his army of furries, toppling the shogun and increasing his notoriety, but was that what he really wanted to do? A wave of nostalgia hit me as I entered my bedroom, which was untouched since I'd last seen it. I would say one of the things about Hakuoki that I really like is the variety of the stories. A lot of Ultimate games, it's like you go on the different routes, but it's basically like you're still in the same plot, but you're just in another person, like you're just going through it with a different character. But Hakuoki, the route actually is very different depending on who you end up with. Like in Okita's route, like you go to her home and father is like there. Like you go there and he's there and he like helps Okita, because in order to survive, Okita takes like the water of life, as I said. But it doesn't cure him, because the water of life, all it does is make you have regenerative powers. So basically, like, he's still dying from the tuberculosis.
He's just constantly dying.
Yeah, he's just like not dying as fast anymore, but it's still there. So, and actually in some ways it's a bit worse, because after you take the water of life, your life force is kind of drained away a lot faster. So it ends up kind of being a bit of a bad thing. So like they're trying to find like a cure for it, to hopefully have like the last part of his life as the best it could be. And so they come here and they find her dad. Like Kodo is just like here, and like stuff happens. So it's like, it's very interesting to see just how like each of the different routes like go in very different directions.
That's pretty cool.
I would say that's definitely one of the positives about the games. It really makes sense why the anime focuses a lot more on the guys than it does on Chizuru. Because, like, all the positives about Hakuoki comes from, like, the guys. Like, all of them have interesting personalities that kind of go towards their real-world counterparts. It's very focused on the history, very accurate to that. Very in-depth and detailed about it. All the stories are unique, all the characters are unique and have their own plot lines and character arcs and whatnot. But Chizuru is kind of like one of the down points about the game.
Poor Chizuru.
Yeah. Like, she's not a bad character, but the way the narrative handles her is very sad. A wave of nostalgia hit me as I entered my bedroom, which was untouched since I'd last seen it. I recalled the memory of father using this room to treat patients long before it was a suitable bedroom.
You appear to have contracted food poisoning. I have something I can prescribe, but you have to stay hydrated. This voice is so silly. What's that? You don't have any money? Not to worry. Please feel free to repay me whenever you get the chance.
I was expecting you to first make the joke of him being like, well, I guess I just won't treat you.
No, it's okay. He's Dutch, not American.
you know, it's so true. It's so true.
Chizuru, would you mind fetching me some of the stomach medicine from the storage room?
Father treated every patient with intense care, regardless of their income status or how severe their illness was. He was remarkably kind, giving a personalized touch to each of his patients without expecting anything in return. He was a cherished, well-respected member of our community. Surely all this had to be a misunderstanding. Originally, Father's impetus for creating the Water of Life was for giving the shogunate a shot on thwarting the Empire of Japan from forming. Tao bestowed upon the Meiji government prior to the end of it before that focuses on reinstating the emperor as the supreme force of governance. It was created by the Satsuma Chosu forces. It proved to be a shallow pursuit in hindsight, and his egotism birthed what was arguably one of the most heinous creatures to ever live. I grew angry thinking about it when I heard the front door creak as it slid open. Who could it be, was it? I froze out of panic, slowly turning my head over my shoulder to sneak a quick peek. Oh, it's our dad!
Oh, is someone here?
His voice was unmistakable. Father. I called out to him shakily in response, and from the corner of my eye I watched his silhouette slink towards me quietly.
Kazuma's not doing his job.
Yeah, Kazuma's like, I'm gonna go kill them, and then he totally misses them.
This line is so much like, oh, hi, you're back.
Yeah.
Want some tea?
Yeah, basically.
Chizuru, you have returned from Edo as well, eh? That's what it says.
Oh my gosh.
You returned from Edo as well, eh?
Oh my gosh. Or, as Asher says, the eggiest of men. But yeah,
quite eggy.
It is funny that he's just like, oh, welcome back.
Yeah. Hey, stop.
As if he's only been gone for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, and as if like he hasn't already revealed himself as the BBEG and
yeah. Yeah, well, basically. Hey,
it's just like a
Chizuru.
villain on his day off. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Chizuru, you're finally awake.
Yeah. Oh no. It brings me joy to see you safe and sound. I worried that you might have gotten swept up in a battle or worse.
I could see tiny tears forming behind Father's wide, light brown eyes. It was an expression. Yeah, what the frick? What the
this is not the same person we talked to before.
Yeah. Is there 2 of him?
Is a dream?
Maybe. Oh yeah, maybe it's like she fell asleep and now like this is like she's gonna wake up and be like, oh, Father never returned home. Dingsy. Yeah. It was an expression with which I have been intimately familiar. It's like then she wakes up and Kazuma is right there being like, Chizuru, you're finally awake.
Kazuma's there like, wake up, samurai, we have a city to burn.
I almost convinced myself that our last conversation took place in a nightmare rather than reality. However, I knew better than for it to be true. Where's Kaoru? Has he not joined you?
Indeed, I've ordered him to complete another assignment.
I flicked my eyes back and forth, trying to sense if any fairies were nearby, but I couldn't. This may be my only opportunity to speak candidly with Father, and perhaps even convince him. Father, answer me something. Do you really plan on creating more furries as a way of manipulating the Imperial Army?
Chizuru.
That can't be what you really want, is it? Father, didn't you dedicate your life to becoming a doctor in order to save innocent people from dying? When I was a child, my memory of Father was of his incredible work ethic, how he'd pour himself into books on Western studies and medicine. Book with studies, culture, and technologies brought over to Japan from the Dutch.
Oh yeah.
He invested himself in his patients. I remember peeking into his room one night as he flipped through his books with only a lantern as company. There was no way that level of dedication could have faded so easily.
He is very dedicated to destroying the world.
Yeah.
Right.
He changed his dedication from helping others to hurting others.
Yeah. Unlike you, my child, I am not a direct descendant of the Yukimura clan. My family's blood has been so long since diluted, making me closer to human than demon. So he is our biological father then? I always figured he was adopted because of us being a demon and all. But...
I think maybe because they did say that like the whole place was like destroyed, but that the 2 children were like saved, and he says you're more of a direct descendant than I. So I think he's not our biological father, but he's like one of our relatives.
Right. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. As a child, my life nearly succumbed to a severe illness. This is what motivated me to put forth all my energy into practicing Western medicine. It was a desperate wish to save those who suffered like me.
Father, so... It was just as I expected. Father still possessed an innate desire to care for others. My joy was short-lived as Father continued.
But that was naive, and I've left that behind.
Yeah, that's basically what he's saying!
But the funny thing is, Chizuru, that no matter how much medicine evolves, humans are twice as effective at creating tools of destruction and in my experience, are more eager to test them on their fellow men than to help them.
It's so funny that he's like, yes, I cared about people, but now I don't. They're awful. I was a naive fool. I was an idiot. Stupido idiota.
If this vicious cycle continues, then all that will remain are poor, lonely orphans like you and Kauri. I cannot, in good conscience, allow these imbeciles to run this country into the ground so petulantly.
I mean, I guess this is pretty realistic, because what happens to a lot of people is, like, originally, you know, they're you know, they care about others and want to help them and stuff, but then they get, you know, there comes a point where when you're so empathetic for others that you become exhausted, that other people aren't in that same way. And that exhaustion leads to, like, anger and, like, a want for vengeance against, like, the terribleness of the world. And so a lot of times people who start off with good intentions end up going down some dark paths because of it.
Yeah, this is why, like, idealistic young politicians eventually turn into corrupt old men.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty sad. It's really sad. It's why, like, in some ways, it's kind of good to, like, take some breaks from, like, things that are going on around you. Because there's always gonna be stuff happening, like, all the time, like, bad stuff happening. And one person can only handle so much. And especially nowadays with the fact that we have, like, global communication and internet and all that we can literally learn about everything that's going on all the time. And it can be really exhausting emotionally and mentally.
Empathy fatigue.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's why sometimes it's good to just, like, kind of spend some time just either focusing on yourself or focusing on the good things in life, something that makes you happy, so that you're not constantly thinking about the way the world has terrible things going on in it.
Yep.
The moon in the room suddenly shifted. I gazed in horror as father's body began to radiate a blinding aura as if he was being engulfed in flames. What the frick?
He's about to morb.
Yeah, he's about to morb. Oh my gosh. I was thinking, like, you know how there's stories about, like, some humans that spontaneously combust? That's what I was thinking. Yeah, like, he didn't actually mean to. Like, he's just standing there talking, and all of a sudden he just bursts into flames, and he's like, ah!
Amazing.
Out of reflex, I cupped my hands over my mouth. What the frick? Oh! There's something really funny about that. How it just zoomed in on his
just zooming in on his bald head.
For a second, I thought they were gonna be like, now he's gonna grow a long mane of hair.
The Super Saiyan hair.
Oh, father. Two sharp horns started poking through the flesh on his forehead, akin to some kind of beast that I had only seen in a wood block print. You know, what if it's like... I think it would be funny if Cosmo all of a sudden, like, appeared. His eyes were slowly changing to gold, nearly paralyzing me with their bright, ominous glow. What's going on?
Will Laris if he just never explained it.
Yeah, he just starts moving on with his discussion.
Yeah. Just pretends nothing is happening.
Yeah.
Witness the demons' true firm, Chizuru.
Also, can I just point out how funny this is? That the transformation was so intense. Like, it's like, oh, a blind light goes off. He gets set on fire. There's legitimately fire on him and everything. And all that happens is his eyes turn gold and little horns appear on his forehead. And he's like, this is the true form of demons. And it's like, okay, so you have gold eyes and some horns.
Cool.
Cool. Demons, true form.
As demons interbred with humans, our people distance themselves from reaching their full potential, and I was resigned to suffering the same fate. Thanks to my serum, however, the precious water of life, my demon blood has been reawakened from its dormancy after years of suppression.
Oh! Do you think... oh, wait. I wonder if that's the reason why he went crazy. Like...
Makes sense.
So, he only cared about helping people and was helping the Shinsegumi, like, out of the goodness of his heart. But then, like, he's like... He notices he's made this thing that can bring, like, demons, like, out of people. And he's like... What if I use it on myself? Because he's always kind of had a complex about not being strong enough. Since he has diluted blood and almost died from an illness as a kid. So he takes it, but because the serum, like, turns people crazy, he's now gone crazy with the serum.
Makes sense.
So you've drank the water of life?
Exactly.
Words failed me. It was
what do you think? How do I look?
Yeah, he's like, how do I look? Starts posing.
Are you proud of your dad?
Are you proud of your daddy? It was a nightmare scenario, and suddenly whatever delusions I'd had about expecting to compromise with my father were abandoned. Yeah, he's insane now. Not only had father been created furries, but now he himself was a fury as well. A demon who had consumed the water of life out of a selfish pursuit to become an unstoppable being. Yeah, we gotta kill him. How recently he had consumed the vile serum was a mystery to me, but it was clear that the man who raised me was gone, and instead, a monster. Yeah, he basically died way back. We can kill him. Say Cosma on him. Like, Cosma's like a dog. Like,
get him, boy.
Get him. Play fetch, yeets. Kodo across the field.
Between myself and Kaoru, who is also discovered the means of unlocking his true demonic potential, and an army of furries unencumbered by sunlight.
Oh, so Kaoru took it as well? Oh boy. We gotta kill them all.
The way you phrase it makes it sound like he has a different method, because he is a full-blooded demon, so maybe he can just tap into it with his willpower.
Oh, maybe.
No one can oppose us. With this serum at our disposal, mankind will cower and learn how futile waging a war against our people will be.
It's like, it's really ironic that this is happening. Because Cosma is all like, oh, humans are less than demons because they're constantly with their greed, like trying to create weapons and start wars and stuff. When over here we see demons doing the same thing. The exact same thing that they're hating humans for doing. As if in reality, besides like some abilities, they're not really all that different after all.
It is almost as if...
Yeah, it's almost as if there are good and bad people and good and bad demons. I shook with disbelief. Yeah, what a concept. I shook with disbelief, crying frantically at my father as the realization of his crimes was sinking in. My time with the Shitsugumi granted me lessons upon which I otherwise had no perspective. When working in such a close capacity with people from different walks of life, one understands that getting your way is challenging. Compromise is key. For the Shitsugumi, having the furries made this particularly difficult. For father, however, without anyone to challenge him, there was no one to inform him of what an erroneous sin he had committed against humanity. Father, please, snap out of this. Do you truly believe you will be able to easily curry favor with the Imperial Army and eventually usurp power? The process... Even the Shinsengumi, as strong opponents of the shogunate, were at the mercy of bureaucracy, which only served to frustrate and disenfranchise them. It was hard to believe Father Coward would be capable of avoiding the same issue.
If you think the Imperial Army is sitting in any position to exploit and dispense this, then you are mistaken. It is they who should be afraid of us annihilating every last one of them. In fact, we certainly have the means to do so.
Except it's as Kazuma said, like, it doesn't matter if you're the biggest tiger in the ecosystem. It doesn't matter as long as there's enough prey there to take you down.
Yeah, I think though is like that's what the army of furries is for, right?
Yeah, but we've already established that the furries are like way less than regular demons. Like the fact that the Shinsengumi could cut down the furries but couldn't cut down Kazuma, like shows that fact that they're not as powerful as a regular demon is.
Very true.
What? Father's golden eyes beat with an electrifying, almost unrecognizable madness.
Now come with us. Is a pure-blooded demon oh my
god, he's really gone off the deep end. Like, what the frick?
By mating with the furries, we can guarantee your offspring will be even stronger.
Like, what the frick? What the frick? He literally wants to use her as a broodmare.
Yeah.
What the frick?
If that were to happen, our clan, the Yukimura clan, will give birth to a new generation of demons. The world will take notice of our people when we exact revenge on the demons who abandoned us in their time of need. Crushing them with impunity.
So not only is he gonna kill a bunch of humans, he's gonna kill also the few demons that still exist. Like, yeah. What?
Also, like, ethics aside, wouldn't it be much more logical to just make female furries and then have Kaori impregnate them if that's what your plan is? That would be much more efficient.
Yeah, it would. It would be much more efficient. I don't know why they're going it about this way, except for the fact that they are mad. Like, they are legit mad. Father wore a malicious smirk as he extended his hand out. Like, he legitimately thinks that she'll be like, yeah, okay, I'm fine with being used as a broodmare, being forced to give birth 1,000,000 times until I frickin' die from the exertion on my body.
Yeah, and with, like, fucking zombies, no less.
Yeah. I desperately searched for an escape route, but Father moved with a heightened agility, grabbing my arm before I could even hit the ground running. Stop! Let go of me! I tried swatting Father's arm away just as the panic began to set in.
Shut your mouth, you imbecile.
Oh, I called it! I was like, oh, he's gonna appear.
She's my broodmare.
Yeah!
Illuminate me. How do you expect to rally your people and form a new clan if you're nothing more than a bitter, senile idiot?
That voice! It can't be! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Kazuma!
That's Kazuma's music.
Kazuma, what are you doing here? It's because we're in an ultimate game, and we're on his route. Of course he's here.
Yep.
I almost need to pinch myself to believe that it was truly him, but he made no secret out of his irritation when he glared at me from the corner of his eye.
Could ask you the same question.
This is my house! This is my home!
I thought I'd ordered you to stay low and out of their detection. Yet here you are, girl. Care to tell me what you think you're doing?
Well, I went against what you said and tried to reason with them again, but it turns out my dad's insane, so actually you can kill him.
Yep.
I couldn't think of an answer off the top of my head, and so Kazuma dismissed me, shifting his angered gaze towards father. He's like, actually, I don't care.
Yeah. Not only have you committed the ultimate crime in producing more fakes, but now you've stooped low enough to become one of them. It appears as though you're practically begging me to stick this sword in your gut, aren't you?
Kazuma spat out in a low, bitter tone. He reached over to his katana and unsheathed it, ready to strike as he dug his heels into the tatami mat below. Something about his katana, though, intrigued me. Rather than reflect light in the room, as a katana normally would, it produced its own shimmering gleam, giving it an ethereal blessed quality.
Drink all the serum you wish, Kodo, but never your wildest dreams will be capable of measuring up to what a true warrior can be. Gah.
Father let out a yelp from frustration, partly out of embarrassment to Kazuma's mockery, but mostly in the knowledge that he was no warrior. After a moment... What? I'm guessing he threw us aside. Father grabbed a hold of my arm and shoved me where Kazuma had been standing. I braced myself to hit the floor, thinking Kazuma would sidestep to avoid me and charge at Father. Or so I thought.
So he pushed me onto his sword.
Oh yeah, she gets stabbed, like, whoops. Kazuma caught me, flying towards him, wrapping his arm securely around me as I landed. Huh? 5 seconds ago, I expected to fall face first as I plummeted to the ground, but now this. Father sees it and he just bolts out! It's like we're in a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah.
Father, seeing this ample opportunity, bolted towards the house's back door.
Kodo, wait! You still owe me money.
Kazuma chased after him, but...
He got away, huh? I should have guessed that rat would slip between my fingers.
Father had disappeared, successfully evading Kazuma's brief pursuit. As Kazuma darted his stern eyes at me, I cowered in the corner. Thank you for saving me earlier again. I bowed my head politely, but he raised the corner of his lip flippantly.
Hello, Owen.
Oh, hi, Owen. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? I love ya. Welcome.
Your thanks are unnecessary. Instead, I demand your answer to my earlier question. I told you not to go near them nor pursue them. Why have you disobeyed me?
How should I answer? I think this involves me too.
Yeah.
Because I think if we just said, I want to help, he'll be like, we don't need your help. Like, you're not, you're just a lady. Whereas this involves me too is more like, I did this for myself. Yeah. So we going with this?
Yeah.
Because I am a member of the Yukimura clan. If my father and brother are planning to commit these heinous crimes, then I can't let the burden fall on you to take care of everything, Kazuma.
I don't see a flourish, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, big beef.
Were you not listening to what I had told you earlier, girl? Female demons pale in comparison to what their male what their male counterparts can do in battle. Your presence benefits me none whatsoever.
Wow. Danksy.
Motherfucker.
I get that, but if you were in my shoes, Kazuma, would you listen to yourself? Could you honestly live with passing on your burden to someone else? Oh, Sab.
This does seem like the right thing.
Yeah, this seems like, unlike
maybe
the last
doesn't
one.
give you the thing every time.
Yeah. Though I think the first one we did was the wrong one, because that one felt wrong. Because he was like, yeah, I don't know how to answer that question. And it was kind of like, oh. So I feel like that was wrong, but yeah, this one seems kind of right. He gazed at me inquisitively, and together we were silent as the wind rustled branches outside. After a long, awkward pause, oh, there we go!
There we go.
It was just delayed.
Understood. Perhaps I'm being forward, but I see in you the virtues befitting the leader of the Yukimura clan. Wow. You said something nice.
Yeah.
All I ask, however, is that you refrain from acting so recklessly. Do not allow these rash thoughts to cloud your judgment, or else your leadership will suffer.
Okay, I understand, except I am an impulsive protagonist, so...
That will change nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who even thinks of abducting you under my watch will be punished without mercy. Come with me. You will feel better watching me peel the flesh from their bones with my swing of my sword. Yeah, it'll make you feel great. You do that to your father and brother.
Yeah, it'll be great. And then for a second, I thought he was gonna say something like peel the flesh from an orange for some reason. So now all I can imagine is him like having like a bone from a person who died and just like peeling it and being like, here's a slice of
you want
flesh.
It's fresh.
Kazuma spoke indifferently, turning around to head back into town. The thought of him promising to murder their father and Kaoru still unsettled me, but I suppose it was far better than being left in the dark without any clue of where father could be or what he had been hoping to achieve. I scurried right behind Kazuma as we left the house behind. By the time we returned back to Edo, the sun had set, dipping into the orange pool of the western horizon. Kazuma led us to a secluded inn, adorned with modest decorations and lighting as our lodgings for the evening when, lo and behold, Amagiri was there waiting for us.
Motherfucker.
Yeah. I'm glad to see you've made it back safely. So, what's she doing there behind you?
Are you acting coy? Do I have to spell it out for you, or are you going to quit being an idiot? She's behind me because that's where women belong.
That got me off guard. That is what she's thinking.
Enough horseplay. Tell me, what have you uncovered?
Well, that depends on how much time you've got. There's quite a bit to report. Amagiri answered coolly, glancing over at me after he spoke. Was he implying that I needed to step out? Just that I prepared my things to leave the room.
This girl, she has inherited Yukimura blood. She has the right to listen to our conversation. It is up to her, that is, if she has the stomach for it.
In typical fashion, Kazuma was speaking about me in a dismissive manner, but I took it to mean that he had been respectfully acknowledging my agency in the decision to stay. No matter what it was that Amagiri had to say, if it had anything to do with father and Kaoru, then I had an obligation to stay. I am ready for whatever it is you have to say. Please allow me to remain here. Amagiri nodded deeply, taking a deep breath as he began his report. In regards to Kaoru Nagumo, he appears to be a Kofu residing with warriors from the Tosa domain. The domain ruled by Lord Yamaguchi and opposition daimyo. Publicly, the domain supported imperial unification, but many of its ronin were in fact imperial nationalists. To make matters worse, he has an entourage of Koto's enhanced furries with him as well. Kofu. If I remember correctly, that's where the Shinsengumi had been headed. If Kaoru was leading a battalion of furries along with members of the Imperial Army to wherever the Shinsengumi was marching towards, then it means...
It looks like the Shinsengumi is going to have their hands tied with his furries in Kofu, aren't they?
Yes, exactly. I couldn't get my body to stop shaking with worry. Would everyone be safe? During the Battle of Toba Fushimi, the Shinsengumi suffered numerous casualties, and on top of that, Okita, to my knowledge, had still been bedridden, and was in no suitable condition to wield his sword on the battlefield, according to Dr. Matsumoto. Captain of the Shinsegumi's 1st Division, after returning to Edo, he is diagnosed with tuberculosis and becomes bedridden. Negotiations between the Imperial Army and the Shogunate are ongoing at Edo Castle. If their talks start getting a little messy, then
Edo will bathe in an ocean of fire. Ergo, the perfect opportunity for Kodo and Kaoru to unleash their sick beasts into a sea of blood.
Yes, I assume they will organize their furries and march them back to Edo as soon as possible. But then again, there aren't too many areas in which they could hide their large, devilish army.
The Nagumo clan is affiliated with the Tosa domain, are they not? How oddly coincidental. For now, keep a watchful eye on their movements.
I think the reason why I keep wanting to talk when you talk is because, like, it's Chizuru and Chikage. So I see that first, Chi, and it makes me go, oh, Chizuru's talking. No, it's Chikage, Kazuma.
I'm looking at the second name.
I see. As I listened to their conversation, an urgent feeling of panic raged inside of me, and I realized that I was suddenly drenched in cold sweat. Edo could be bathing in an ocean of fire. If Kazuma's prediction comes true, then Edo's innocent people will be helpless against the vicious tide of furries, eager for the taste of blood. Everything was coming together, and it horrified me to imagine sacrificing an entire city for the purpose of feeding this army's insatiable hunger. It was a violation of the world's sacred order, and we were running out of time.
Now that we are on the subject, I'm curious about what the Chosu are planning as well. I plan on warning the Satsuma officials about this matter, of course, but if Kodo and Kaoru make pawns out of the Chosu, it will all have been for naught.
We will have Shiranui gain an audience with them. I shall alert him at once. However, I've seen little of him since we last met at Yase Village. Since then, he has been a ghost, even on the battlefield. Perhaps he has grown tired of playing a part in this sick game. Amigiri left us with that, bowing lightly as he exited the room. Kazuma stood still for a moment before turning to me.
I'm stepping out. Get some rest.
Oh, okay. Please be careful.
Unless you are confronted with an emergency, you're forbidden from leaving this building.
I can't believe it's the us living with the Shinsigami all over again.
Yeah. House arrest again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we may have a repeat incident from earlier today.
Okay, I understand. Kazuma lingered for a moment longer, gazing into my eyes to assure himself, then he flew out the door.
Whee!
Whee! Yeah, he just actually floats out. Like T-poses out the door.
I think I will also get some sleep.
Okie doke. Thanks for hanging out, Rolf. You're the best.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Is next Monday still good for you?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think it's still good for me too. So hopefully we'll see. I'll let you know if anything changes. But thanks for hanging out. I love you very much. Get some good sleeps.
See ya.
See ya.
Goodbye.
Oh boy. Let's save the game. Gotta make sure. Sometimes I double save just to be sure. Let's save. Yeah, we're on 6. Let's see. Oh yeah, we have 30% because we got 2 of them right so far. Good. But yeah. I think with that, we'll call it. Once we finish this game, I have some things on the back burner in my Steam wish list, because we're only going to do this route, and if we get the good ending first try, then that's it. If we don't, then we'll go through it again, making sure we get the good ending the second time. And then after that, I'll pick something from my Steam wish list, probably. Definitely not egg round. That's our dad. Then I'll look at my Steam wish list. Or not wish list, but my Steam, like, page, my library, and pick something from there in the meantime. And then I think after that, we'll probably play Birushana, because I talked about it earlier, and as I thought about it, it would probably be a perfect game for the stream as well, if I don't already play it myself, which might be a possibility by then, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. But yeah, if I do finish 3 houses before we get to that point, and I play through Birushana, we might still play it on stream, or we might do something else. I haven't decided yet. Harem route, heck yeah, let's go. But yeah, so, and I'm excited for that game, because as I said, in Birushana, that seems to be one of the only games where the main female protagonist actually does stuff. So, that'll be fun. But yeah, 3 hoes, let's go. But yeah, I'll probably play some more tonight. I'm a bit more awake now than I was earlier, where I was literally yawning during the stream. But now I'm a bit more awake, and I'll probably play some more tonight. And hopefully get some sleep, though. It's always hard to say. I want more female protagonists. Yeah, especially in Ultimate games, because Ultimate games are supposed to be about, like, it's for female players, and yet despite that, a lot of times it features, like, a female character basically just, like, T-pose it on the side while the male characters do a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Heck yeah, Azure, you're always welcome to be there. I love you very much. But yeah. It's exciting. But yeah, with Birushana, like, apparently that the main female protagonist, like, is a skilled warrior and actually, like, fights in battles and is successful at it. You are always welcomed. I'll fight ya, Azure. I'll fight ya. Yeah. Anyways, let's see who we shall raid. Let me open up Chrome, because I actually don't have it open up here. Open it up so I can go to my channel. Let's see if anyone's live right now. Oh, multiple people are live. Let's raid. We can raid either CBs or Mew. I mean, I've raided Mew a lot recently, but I haven't raided CBs in a while, so I'm gonna raid CBs. Thanks for being here, Azure. You're the best. Okay, let's do it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'll see you guys on Saturday for more VN night, which will be decide whatever we do based on the poll once again. So I'll probably send out the poll soon. And then, of course, the Monday after that, probably continuing all of this. Which is exciting. It's fun to be in the actual romance part of the route. Let's go. But anyways, I love you all so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!